The City of Love, birthplace of the baguette, home to some of the most sophisticated women in the world. But our French friends also love to protest. Everything. And this protest first kicked off in January with President Macron's plan to raise the pension age from 62 to 64.
It's indecent and it's not going to stop there.
They want us to work longer while they are already reducing our salaries.
A decision he says he didn't want to make.
No.
But had to keep the pension budget under control, saying a failure to act now will result in an annual $22 billion deficit by 2030.
Why? Because we live longer, general, on average, in good health, and because it weighs on public finances.
Garbo's striking first, streets piling up with rat-infested rubbish, the capital taking on a certain je ne sais quoi. The French are fiercely protective of their generous pension system, the envy of Europe. Even with the age increasing by 2 years, the French will retire younger than most of their neighbours. Pension age is 65 in Germany, Spain and Belgium, while the Greeks and Italians have to wait until 67. But what's really upset some people is how Macron got the bill through. Predicting a vote wouldn't go his way, he used special constitutional powers to ram it through without one.
We cannot accept that and say that we're in a democracy when you have more than half of the people in the country against this reform.
C'est inacceptable. Ça, ce n'est pas la démocratie.
The City of Light taking a dark turn. Violent unrest breaking out across the country. Motorways blockaded, government buildings set alight, shops vandalised. Rolling riots. A state visit from King Charles called off. The sight of Paris burning now commonplace as the government refuses to back down.
And joining us now is Al Jazeera journalist Tristan Redman, who's based in Paris. Tristan, it's pretty quiet and early where you are now, but we've seen the pictures of protesters literally tearing France apart, or Paris apart. How chaotic is it there on the ground?
Well, I mean, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I mean, I've covered a lot of protests and pension strikes in my time, and this is definitely one of the worst ones. Every one of these protests has got a thing which stands out. You know, you probably remember the yellow vest protest a few years ago. There was that one. There was the massive transport strike about 3 years ago. And this one is all about the trash. In lots of Paris, there are just giant piles of trash everywhere. There's some signs that might be clearing, but it's pretty gross, if I'm honest.
Hey, Tristan, I'm trying to ask this question as respectfully as possible, but what is with the French and protesting? Because they seem to do it quite a lot.
People see it as part of their heritage and their history, you know, going back to the revolution, and that's not a melodramatic thing to say. It's kind of baked into French society in many ways. You know, French people, when they demonstrate, everyone plays their role. Demonstrators turn up, there are hot dog stands, there's like the same 2 protest songs that get played over and over again. And I have to say, actually, the international media, you guys have all got your role to play as well, because you have to report on how the French like to protest and are work shy. And so, like, everybody has got their role and the circle of life goes on.
I'm sorry, are you blaming us for the protests in France, Tristan?
No, I'm just saying that everyone has got their role to play, and we all fit into it nicely, and we all get on well.
OK, I retract my previous question.
Hey, Tristan, 62 seems like a reasonably early age to be retiring. 64, not that bad either, by global standards. What is going on in France that people are so desperate to get to the other end of life?
Well, that's a very good question, Hamish, and that's really the core of the issue, actually. So what President Macron says is that France needs to get real. It's not realistic to retire at 62 anymore these days. Demographics are changing. The world is changing. But I've got an interesting statistic for you, which is that the poorest members of French society, the life expectancy there is actually 66, which is very, very low. So the unions say if you can only expect to live until 66, retiring at 64 is maybe unreasonable, and people should be allowed, permitted to spend time enjoying the later years of their life, especially if they start working very early, at 16, for example. So that's the heart of the question, and it's kind of an intractable problem right now.
Tristan, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, I feel like I asked a bit of a question there, like a tongue-in-cheek question about the French and that they like to protest, and did a massive eye roll internally. But then when I heard him say that life expectancy in France is 66, that definitely puts a spin on why they don't want to raise the retirement age, because then you just don't have many years left. And I'm thinking, like, if your life expectancy is 66, like, you've got much bigger problems than raising the retirement age in the country, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Point, yeah.
You know what? You protest, you Frenchies. You get out there.
Shannon's coming to join you, folks.